This is your last margin call with your hosts, Beck and Tim.
All right, we are entering 2020 on our new podcast. We got a whole new series ahead of you guys. We have our ER season that's going to be coming up. I'm super excited about that. We've got a lot of guests that are going to be trickling in. People that have been trying to message and kind of get on the show to kind of just show everything that's going to be going on in their viewpoint on how to play ER season, how to handle it. So I think you should be really excited for the upcoming episodes that are coming in. But tonight we have our 2019 review, a 2020 outlook, and just our stock picks that we're going to be looking at that we kind of think that are going to happen throughout 2020. And obviously the disclaimer that you shouldn't take our stock picks. We're not financial advisors, yada, yada, yada. If you're taking our stock picks and you think we're financial advisors, yeah, you kind of probably suck already as it is.
Idiot.
Yeah, exactly. So you probably shouldn't be doing that. So what I kind of want to dive into, the main thing is always the year in review. I am very open and honest about the things that I go through, the trading style, the ups and downs that I've had. I have no shame in showing anything or any problems that I've had. But I want to know just, what everybody else is going on through, how they handled 2019 adversity. I know there's a big change and huge sediment throughout it. So it was a difficult year, and I think there's no shame in saying that it was a difficult year, especially with a lot of headlines that were blasting through us. So I think that's an important thing to have, because I think this is they say is the most hated bull market there ever could possibly have been, because it's just so much conflicting things out there. So we have two people here with us. We have Bearilla, as always. We have Jae. Both of them have been here since the beginning, that are going to tell us their 2019 review. Before we do any of that whatsoever, we have to stick true to our podcast, and we have to say what we are going to be drinking tonight. And personally, I'm really excited about what I'm drinking tonight, so I kind of want to go first.
Please do.
Thank you. So I actually got inspired by a tweet that was out there by Trader Stewie. I don't know if, I'm sure a couple people out there know him. He posted basically it's a twist on a Planter's Punch. A Planter's Punch is typically a lemon pineapple juice mixed with a couple bitters, and then you put it all together. It's a rum-based drink. And so I said, I could do that better. I could definitely do that better. So I made a Planter's Punch, and what you're going to be basically doing is you're going to be substituting the lime or the lemon juice, not lime juice, and you're going to be substituting that for a prickly pear juice. You want to do a 1 part prickly pear, a 1 part pineapple juice. You're going to be making a spicy lemon ginger simple syrup, which is super freaking easy. You just put lemon juice, sugar, boil it, and then you just do it all together. And then as it's melting and comes a little bit congeal, or as the British say, a little claggy, you do that and you pour it into your drink, and then you add these two juices and then your rum, and you can go crazy with the rum, and you have my version of the prickly punch. And that is my drink for the evening that I had to go downstairs and make right before we had to make this.
That's not a drink. That's a meal. You just made a whole meal.
I feel like I
all
just
that
sat
prep.
through
I'm a fucking
11th grade history lesson.
I'm a god when it comes to
whatsoever.
this. I am Twitter's barista. That's what everybody has to realize. Like,
Is
no
that
one.
something to brag about?
No, it really is, because you're borderline alcoholic, but you're fully admitting it. But you just want to experiment and be like, what new can we come up with today? And I came up with something
I mean,
really
I think
fucking
true
awesome.
Alcoholics are in the corner drinking, rubbing alcohol. Those are the real.
Well, I'm more like a flamboyant alcoholic. I'm
I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I will too.
I like to showcase what I know and what I can make. So I'm just
Yeah, you like to showcase destroying your life.
I hate you, but I love you at the same time. But it's so true. But whatever. Who cares? What are we talking about? I don't know. What are you drinking, Bear?
I am drinking a bubbly sparkling water, which is Target's brand of sparkling water, or as I don't know what nationality it was. You said as the Europeans say, bubbly
Bubbly.
sparkling water. It's raspberry. It actually is raspberry. Sorry. I don't know what the difference is.
Hold on, you got this from Target? Which one?
The Target store. What do you mean, which one?
Well, no, because like I just literally went there and I got the strawberry mango, I got the ginger peach, and I got the other one. So
which flavor?
yeah, which flavor?
So like which Target?
I don't care about fucking Ohio.
By my house. I'm not in Ohio.
Oh yeah, that's right. You got back. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Back in Florida, the land of. Okay, real quick. This just reminded me. I gotta divert real fast. Okay.
Got to divert. Go ahead.
You know when you get on a plane and like before you're boarding, like, oh, anybody that's in a wheelchair and is about to die that needs to board early, like, come on, get wheeled up here so you get on the plane.
So you can die on the plane, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then they're like, it's a toss-up between if they say people in uniform or people with small children, and then, you know, sometimes people clap and you're like, I'm ashamed to be part of this. Anyway, so I'm allowed to say that, screw all of you.
I know.
Anyway.
We know.
So, we're standing there waiting, you know, we come up, we're like, well, we'll board last, we're the last row anyway, like, we already checked all our bags, so whatever, we board. When we get on the plane, the lady comes over, the, whatever, the announcement thing, and she's like, when we get to Melbourne, Florida, which is where I live, so when we get to Melbourne, I don't mind if everybody stands up to pick up their bags and stretch and everything, but we have 14 wheelchair people to get off of this aircraft. Dude. So you're going to she's like, you can create a line if you want to, but we need to get these folks off of the aircraft first. 14!
That's so many.
14 people off of an airplane, wheelchairs?
Jesus
About 14
Christ.
minutes longer than it usually takes. So there I am, my children screaming in the back, waiting for
oh my god,
Deathathon 5000 to get off of the. Anyhow, that I'm drinking a bubbly. That's what this boils down to.
That's a great story because I'm petrified of flying right now, and I'm planning on going out to Vegas in February.
Around twice. We tried to land, had to take back off, come around a few times. Going to land, take back off. Haley almost threw up.
Oh my goodness!
This is gonna be fantastic. And then we finally landed.
Dude, I'm so petrified of that moment. Just like the you can't do anything. No, just well, like I already hate flying as it is. Like I hate the feeling. I hate the uneasiness of it, and I kind of just don't trust it. I know that seems stupid in today's day and age, but it's just like
you're also scared of like spiders,
everything.
You know, any other bug.
Spiders, water, cars, anything that doesn't involve my room. Like that's scary.
You know, continue.
But like I'm just like I'm petrified of that, and just like in hearing those things and knowing my trip is in like 2 months, and just like I hate knowing that that's around the corner. And
what airline are you flying on?
It's company provided, so I actually don't know yet.
That means you're gonna go with the cheapest bidder. You're
Son
gonna go
of
Frontier Airlines.
Right, Frontier. Not even Spirit, just Frontier.
No, Frontier. We call it the lipstick tube. You just get on there. You just lay on top of other people, and they just hope that you get there.
Yeah, just hold tight. We'll be there in a couple hours. It's supposed to be like 5 hours and 20 minutes is like the total flight time. And
they give you a bungee cord and they say just hook it wherever you can. Just hang on.
Jesus.
Frontier. Frontier's slogan is actually, you pay for your ass in gas.
There you go.
So enjoy that. Next time, fly Delta.
I want to. I want to do Delta or United. It's like my two experiences that I've had like really good things with. I don't mind American.
I would not fly United, but.
Well, yeah, all right. Yeah, but I don't know. It's just
Long Delta. DAL. Long Delta.
There you go. 2020 pick. There it is. Podcast over. But no.
Yeah, it's not a bad chart. Anyway.
It's not a bad. All right, but so what we're gonna start off with is I'm gonna let you two talk about 2019. I'll go into my own 2019 review, and then we'll dive into the 2020 outlook and then a couple of our stock picks that we have for 2020. So I'll have everything timestamped to make it easy and quick and accessible if you want to just skip all this, or if you made it this far and you're like, fuck this, I just want to skip ahead. So look for those and you could just skip ahead to that. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the 2019 review, where we're just going to ask a few questions and we're going to see how everyone's 2019 went. Did it go according to their plan? Did they have a good year? Did they have a bad year? What did they want to do better? Some things that they had struggled to handle through 2019. What went extremely well in 2019? Let's just talk about that. And real quick, Bear.
Yeah, real quick, let me just start by saying, I don't know if it's because he's black, but you didn't let Jay say what he was.
You know what?
You just skipped right over him, like.
Shit.
Come on my podcast. Sit at the back. Don't talk.
Jay, Jay, I'm really
like
sorry. You know what? I honestly thought I heard something like whisper in the background, so I was just like,
"Did you say you were Twitter's barista or something? You're horrible."
Yeah, I know. I knew he's not going to give a tip. That's why I went right to you. All right, and it's just that. But go ahead, Jay. Like, let us know what you're drinking.
Why are you sober shaming me, Tim?
Because I know you're sober. I just don't want to put you on blast. All right, what is fine? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, what are you drinking? Is it just a cup of water?
Yeah, it's a Coca-Cola glass cup, though, that I got from McDonald's.
Is it ionized? Is it anything cool? Does it have the Fujijima like high radiation to it or anything?
Nah, it's just glass.
That's cool. I don't know. I'm trying to make this interesting because he's drinking water, Bear, and I had to jump to him for an alcoholic beverage suggestion.
It's like if you drink water in Japan, it's automatically radiated.
Well, of course, you know, just everything in there is just fucking exploding, but that's fine. Whatever. Back to
racism in this episode is just building, man.
Well, you know what? That's just kind of
radioactive.
It's radioactive.
Then the Asians. Who's next? Let's not bring up Iran.
Let me tell you about Iran. Too soon. All right, but anyways, now that we know that Jay's drinking water, even though we already discussed that he's drinking water beforehand, let's do the. You know what? Screw you, Bear. You don't get to go first anymore after that. Jay, let me hear your 2019 review. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Afford Jay the right to finally go first on something.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Holy shit! Making history today, boys.
They're making history. Going first. How does it feel, baby?
Oh, it's nice. But my start to 2019 wasn't so nice.
All right. What happened?
I started pretty much with a nice short on Amazon, and I sold, and then I was like, oh, it pulled back. I'm gonna short this again, and then it just kind of started taking off from there, and the entire market started pumping.
This is early 2019.
Yeah. Let me look at the chart.
And say that shit was volatile.
Oh no, you know what? Yeah, no, the short was December. That wasn't the beginning of the year. Yeah, I think I tried to short Amazon again in the beginning of 2019, and then just got S. Ooh, I don't want to say that word. I took it in the rear pretty bad. And then
that was an excellent catch.
And then it kind of traded. It just traded in a flag, I guess.
Yeah.
But it wasn't moving the way that Amazon normally. So I actually moved on to trading SPX for.
How long did you do that for?
Much, that was about 2 or 3 months before I started trading futures instead.
Okay.
And like I kind of got raped on SPX too a few times, but I did. Damn it! Didn't want to say that word.
It's okay.
Yeah,
you know what?
There it is.
It's fine.
Oh God.
No, it's okay.
I might be drunk.
No,
I might be drunk.
And drunk on that water. I got you.
It's the radiation in the water.
It's the radiation, people. Give them a break. No, but so go ahead.
Overall, I ended up green on options, and then I took another hit trying to learn to trade futures. So overall, this year I didn't make anywhere near as much money as last year.
Okay, but you're learning a new instrument, new everything. So like it's expected not to immediately succeed. What made you want to switch?
Pretty much getting burnt on SPX. Like I was just getting burnt
that data?
horribly. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
My plays would work out, but it wasn't paying the way it should.
Yeah, dude. So hold on. When you switch to futures, do you remember exactly, not just a general like month frame time, just so people can, like, when they're listening, they could be like, yeah, that's where he started. Like, do you know what month it was? Was it January, February, March, April, May, or not? You know,
Ooh,
I'll be
I
gone
wanna
to
say
November.
I want to say after May.
After May?
Yeah.
It's gonna be May.
There you go. So May is when you started that, and you made the switch away from options. When you handled the futures shift and everything, did you find it to be more relaxing? Was it something you regretted and like, like maybe I should just go back to that or anything, or,
Yeah, I regretted the change at first because I was missing quite a bit of profit every day. I was not making anywhere near like the
Was that
amount of
because
money I could on options.
was it because of
I
the
was
time frame?
small.
Like because you're over there?
Well, I was trading small and trading the micros, so just to get the hang of things.
Yeah, that's smart.
So, I really wanted to get back to making money, so that's what hurts me the most. I should have just kept trading options and trade after hours or whatever on futures to learn them. But
Yeah. Well, so if you don't mind me asking, it's like so overall for 2019, like, did you find yourself to be profitable? Even if you made like $1, if you made $100,000, you made $10 million, like, did you find yourself to be profitable in 2019?
yeah, it wasn't a waste of time. I'll say that.
Good. All right. So that's the most important
waste
thing.
of time.
And so when you look back on 2019, like, what do you think was, in it could be, if you can summarize it down to the most simplest thing of just, if it was whatever it was, what do you think the hardest part of trading 2019 was?
Trusting this actual market was the hardest part. Going
agree.
along and forgetting about it.
I agree.
It was so hard to trust it.
I agree. I think that was, personally, that's like, with me, that was that, and it's just like, I think the trading the patterns thing, it's really hard to believe things when you get fed the headline after headline, and everyone's just like, like, well, you can't believe the headlines, and you just have to trade the chart. And how do people feel these past like few days when they're just trading the chart and everything looks bullish, and you have a Iran news drop and you get fucked, and it's like, sometimes you can't survive that drop real quick, and it's difficult for people, and I think that's okay to admit as well. So I love the fact that you're willing to say too, just believing headlines, but like trading the chart and everything else like that is just key.
Yeah.
And like, Bear, what do you think? Do you feel? Let's just start real quick over with you. Like, what was 2019 like for you?
2019 started out fantastic. Everybody knows that I trade. All right. Everybody knows that I trade Boeing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's your baby.
the year started out fantastic with Boeing. I gotta pull up a chart, but I think it was like 10 straight weeks of green.
That was
Like
stupid.
solid green.
It was stupid.
Yeah.
It was stupid.
I
Like,
was so angry.
dude, I'm not gonna lie, I was angry, and I know you, like, I think for a couple months prior to that, like, and it's just like, wow, I really hope this like
Yeah, you were teaching me some things and whatnot, and then
I was just like, I hope he
was
doesn't
like,
get caught.
you were like, oh yeah, it's gonna be difficult, and I was like, this isn't difficult. All I have to do is just buy Boeing and go along.
This isn't difficult.
Yeah,
Way to rub it in my face.
Yeah, I kept sending you screenshots, and you're like, I hate you so much.
No, it's
Go
true.
Make a fancy drink and drink it and feel bad about myself.
No, it's actually true though.
Yeah, and then March 1st
Becky.
came. And then March 1st came, and that was a very red week, and I was like, okay, that was a fluke because Boeing does nothing but go green. Apparently.
Right.
That was my knowledge. And I think it was March 1st.
No, I know what week you're talking about. I believe it should match up with charts if anybody looks at it too as well. So go ahead. Yeah.
It was around the beginning of March.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when all, the accidents had happened, and everybody was like, oh, what's going to happen? And then, again, sorry, I didn't look all this up.
You're fine.
I think March 10th, Ethiopian Airlines was like, we're grounding this crap. And everybody was like, ruh-roh. Specifically me, who was probably still long. I don't really remember.
I remember that. We're buying $500 leaps. I remember that.
Yeah, I
But that was so warranted at the time. It was like, yeah, of course, fucking $500 leaps. Like, that's stupid not to do that. It was like 10 straight weeks.
And so I was like, all right, wait a second here. These guys just grounded. But it's Ethiopian Airlines, which, like, no one's ever even heard of that other than the accident. So we were like, all right, well, maybe we're still safe here. And then March 13th, the FAA finally caught up with every other country and was like, yep, we're grounding the MAX 8.
Yeah.
So it was effectively a worldwide grounding, and it dropped like a bad boy. And that was not fantastic.
No.
Still green, but it got pretty choppy, and I started just kind of expanding more from there.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've said this pretty much every episode that I've been on, but I'm very new to this, and so I don't use a ton of money because I don't like losing money, and
No one does. No one does. Yeah.
well, yeah, and I mean, I could put more money into it, but it's just I'm not confident enough to do so, or I don't have my emotions in check, I should say, as much as I should before I start putting in.
Well,
Yeah,
more money.
you should be confident enough by now.
Yeah, I'm definitely confident in myself, but it's the the emotional aspect of it, which we've talked about before, is I have trouble keeping things in check.
Well, I think that's okay though. Like, I think it's something that you should be more than okay with. You should never be ashamed with, and you should never be ashamed to admit it in a public setting either way, because isn't that exactly the same thing that hedge funds, capital funds, all these other funds out there that do these things, and they say, you know what, we're moving more towards cash just because we feel a political uncertainty that they use, and we'll finally reassess the market and then dive into things. So for traders to feel that way of, I'm moving more towards cash, I'm moving away from that, I'm not investing as much, like, you should never feel ashamed by that at all.
I don't want to say I'm not ashamed by it. My thing is that multiple times in 2019, I tried to slightly increase my scaling on how much, how many contracts I take, how big I go in on things. And
was it simply to make more money, or was it based off of reasoning?
Obviously, all trading I do is to make more money. But for me, trading is like a hobby because I have a nice career and I like my job and I like what I do. So it was more of I wanted to challenge myself because I'm an emotional trader and I wanted to see if I could handle it. And I found myself taking a lot bigger positions and then holding when I was wrong because I was like, I can't be wrong.
Well, you had
this much money in there.
You had a bias though, right? Though, like, I mean, let's not just say that it's simply because you wanted to make more money. You had a bias that because you felt like you had knowledge that gave you a slighter advantage compared to these things. So it wasn't just you wanting to feel this way, like it was.
No, I mean, I was doing well, taking single or two contracts, or taking one spread, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna bump it up, and I probably jumped higher than I did, going from like 1 to 4, or 1 to 8 in some circumstances, and then kind of gut checked myself. But those are. I mean, overall, it was a great year for me.
Good, absolutely good.
I had a lot of big moves in my personal life, not just like physical moves, but adding. We had another baby at the end of 2018, so
that's hard. That's hard as fuck.
Figuring out how to trade with that, we moved from California to Florida, which is an absolutely humongous move.
Yeah. Yep. Time zone changed. Everything changed.
I moved positions at my last job once in 2019, then left that company, went to a new one. So there's a lot of big changes that 2019 threw at me, and so I'm kind of hoping 2020 we're gonna be trying to stay put, and yeah.
Well, so when you're talking about like with these 2020 things for you both, or 2019 things for you both, and you're talking about the hardships that you had, I know you brought up the fact that the personal side of things, of the hardships of trading through those things, and battling biases. I think a lot of people out there want to know, like, did you ever shake them? Did you ever break them? Like, you just see a lot of Twitter personalities out there that want to, maintain a bearish thing so that they can call this, and they've known that, or a lot of people that say, just buy the dip, you're stupid. Why don't you just buy the dip?
Yeah,
and
like that Oracle guy that won't shut up. Like, dude.
Right?
Oh my god, he's so stupid. Sorry.
No, exactly. So like, there's a lot of people that
That guy
make.
has to be broke. Like, he's got to be begging to drive-through liquor store for some free McDonald's.
Just let me get one
did not
pass
have
through
a
the
good
drive-through.
Let me get one Milwaukee's Best.
No way he had a good year.
No.
way in hell.
No. I mean, he was bearish. I mean, so that's the thing though too, is like, so let's use him as an example. I don't want to drop names because I don't want to give the guy credit for anything, and I don't want to promote him or his service that he runs.
Does that guy run a service?
I think he does. You know what?
Oh, man.
I think it's okay. I think well, you know what? Screw it. We'll just name drop.
Is it a service to lose money?
So it's Ascend Trading. His name is Tahoe of the crypto world, who is a constant bear that believes that the crash of 2019 is always going to happen. The crash of 2020 is always going to happen, but there's manipulation based off the current administration that we have. But again, if you're a bear and you're a retail trader, and you're like, why fight the administration? And number two, why fight the fucking Fed? And why do that? It's okay to maintain a bearish sentiment of a tiny pullback, but always having a overall bullish sentiment. But it's just, he was over the top. Like, he was calling for the crash since, I believe, July of 2019. And it was really, really fucking bad. And it got cringe really fast. Like, ugh. But yeah, so like,
your college kid's tuition on that guy's calls.
right? No, exactly. So like,
Actually, don't even bet like your lunch money. Don't even go there.
no, just don't even waste that. You might as well get yourself a nice turkey
You're gonna
sandwich.
start a service that's just the
Opposite of
what he says.
Oh, dude, you make so
It's
much
probably
money.
gonna be the best.
It'd be the best service.
Performing service.
It is. It would be.
Hands
So like, did you guys have to battle any biases that you had to finally just give up on and break and just be like, I need to change my mindset. Like, this is the second week, third week, fourth week where I'm just wrong. And like, tell me about that. Like, if you can, if you're willing to, like, cause fuck, I thought I was bearish for a little bit too. Like, I have no shame in that.
I was so bearish. Like, after, the market just seemed like it was gonna shit the bed. It's like, okay, yeah, it's just pulling back right now. This isn't gonna be an uptrend or anything.
Well, if you don't mind me asking, like, at what month period or anything did you feel that way? Because I mean, let's be real. There's two major kind of pullbacks in the market, and that was in May, I want to say, and it was in August. And if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I feel like those were the 2 months that like you had a pullback. Like, that was like, oh yeah, here we go, here comes the crash, and people like really jumped in on that bandwagon, and we just like, haha, fuck you guys, we're going up, and that's the attitude that everyone took.
The first one that got me was around May, like May 3rd-ish or something. It looks like.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, let's get short, and for not long term, but I wanted to swing some shorts through that.
Right.
And I got burned through that pretty much the entire time on the first leg down.
It was rough, man. Like, I'm not like that's hard, especially if you have knowledge over the overall market and like how things act and move. Like, it's hard not to say, like, when does it matter? or when does things start to matter? And it's just like after that first time, you have to be like, Trump's got my back. I got this. Like, let's just roll with this. Like,
just believe.
That's
just
like,
buy the dip and believe.
It's so stupid, but it's just like, hey, Trump's got my back. Let's see where this goes. And I feel you on that. That first pullback, that's everybody. I remember that. Like, we had some close friends that were next to us. So like, yep, here we go. It's the fall. Like, and then it just like, boom, rocket.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're at fucking over 3,200. And it's like, hey, there it is.
Speaking of which, Jay, you long over 32, 22, 50?
What?
What? I don't know.
I would be. Anyway.
Yeah,
But-
it's set up. It's definitely set up.
I'd take that. But we can't say that though. Like, what the fuck you guys doing? We're not financial advisors.
We're not.
Oh, I would not be long over
Discl-
32, 22, 50.
Disclaimer,
This
people.
information is for like right now. So when you listen to this, it's old news.
Oh, that means that he means this for the next like 3 to 4 years. So whatever happened,
Actually, Jay's financial advisor, so this is legal.
we're gonna get some legal notices because of this, you assholes. Let's go.
That's fine. Aren't you a lawyer now or something?
No, I basically am. No, I completed I completed law school in like
Tapped it.
2 months,
Alright.
easily.
Yes. 2 months of bird law.
You can't argue bird law.
Anyway, going back to it, yeah, there was a couple times in 2019 for me where like I said, I had big, changes in my personal life, and I tried to trade the same way that I was trading prior to that change, and it wrecked me every time. So it was a good year for me to learn how to adjust to big changes.
Yes.
So it would always take me about, 3 to 4 weeks to pull myself back together and be like, what are you doing? Like, I'm just throwing money away. Get myself, take a step back, reevaluate the situation, reevaluate my life and where I was at in my life and what that meant for my trading. Yes.
Well, yeah. So like for 2019 for me, I had like
Nobody asked you, Tim.
Well, all right. Oh, that's a... Anyways, 2020 outlooks. Let's keep going. Fuck you guys. Just fuck you.
Tim, tell us about your 2020.
Thank you.
I want to know about your 2020, Tim.
Are we 2020 or are we talking 2019? Like, god damn it.
We're just gonna
2019. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, I thought we.
I tried to pull a J and just skip right over.
Okay. I'm so sorry, Jay. I'm sorry for how I have hurt you.
It's all good. Let's hear about your 20.
So 2019. So I had a very, very good start to my 2019. I would say about midway through. I would probably say about May. I hit a bit of turbulence, not only trading wise, personal wise, just everything. I had a horrible 3 months right after that. And it really, really, really got to me. Like, really fucking got to me. And I tried to work through it. So that 3 months that it affected me, and then I tried to correct that and then move forward. And then I tried to tackle that in terms of quarter-wise. Q3 is when I found my footing again. While Q2 was just fumbling left and right, like I was like trying to learn how to walk again. It essentially felt. Q3, I got myself together, doing that, and then Q4 was, I would almost say steady in a sense. I wouldn't call it good, but I wouldn't call it bad either. But it was profitable, and I hate that because it's just like you want to be able to like, hey, like I made some money off this. It was great, and I enjoyed this. It was fun. But it really wasn't really good money, I would put it. That's how I would put it. It just wasn't fun to trade that. And I think I battled a lot of things that were geopolitical in a sense, that were like I was like, fuck it, like we're 20% off. And when we started 2019, I was like, this is a great dip buy opportunity, and I made good money off of that. we hit Q2, and I started thinking, like, maybe there's actual genuine concerns, and I started, hedging a few bits, like trying to do selling credit spreads for most of Q2 and playing those types of things. It went okay. It didn't make as much because, as you shouldn't make that much when you're selling credit spreads and everything else like that.
Yeah.
And that second part of Q2's, I just like, oh man, it's like someone fucking just grabbed my throat and just like shook me of my wallet, essentially. I'm not even ashamed to fucking admit that, like, my personal life got fucked, and like then my financial situation got fucked hard, and it was just like, all right, like, trade small, work your way back up, hit Q3, and I was like, all right, back footing is going, it's going good, we're going great. Q4 hit, and I'm just like, I'm not doing as well as I normally do, but I'm making money, but it's nothing to brag about. And I think, only started trading since like 2015, like, and I start thinking to myself now, and it's like, maybe it's only cyclical. You're going to have your ups and downs when trading, and every year shouldn't be a constant up 20%, 20%, 20%, 20%, or my ass would be fucking hired by now by some from firm trade, because if you're doing that well and you're doing that well consistency wise, you should be trading for someone. You should be making millions, you should be making hundreds of thousands, if that. And so that's okay. And that's how I told myself, like, it's going to be okay that you're not making as much as you did in 2018, 2017, but you're still positive. And that's all that matters. So that's how my 2019 went.
I feel that.
Right?
I feel that so much.
And like, and like, I'm okay admitting that. Like, I don't need to sit here and act like I'm making a fuck ton. Like, I'm about to like pull up, like, here comes the Instagram page. I'm driving a fucking Lambo up in this shit. Like, hey,
you're not
Basra, like, daddy got Saudi oil money. We about to flex on some things out.
Basra doesn't need daddy's money anymore.
Basra is just hitting play after play.
A quarter in the gumball machine, hundreds fell out.
It's so true, but I laugh. It's just like, oh yeah, it's actually true though. Fuck. But no, it's just like, don't be discouraged by this. I mean, like, by 2019 is like, yeah, it was a 30% plus year, but everyone is accepted that's the most hated bull market ever. It's because it didn't match economic data, which has been a little pivotal point for all years prior. It's administration, and you can blame it on administration problems and say that, but like, at some point you have to readjust and always believe in the administration. You can't constantly go against it. So it's a hard, I think 2019 was a hard mental battle. And
it was, dude.
And it's just like, do you believe the data? Do you believe people? Do you believe the chart? And when the chart didn't hit, it was hard, because it's just like, yeah, jobs didn't hit, but then jobs hit like great next week, and then jobs hit horribly the next week, and jobs hit great, and then all of a sudden ISM is down, and then all of a sudden it's up, and then all of a sudden trade war hits, and then all of a sudden trade war is fixed, and so it's a hard year. So there's no shame in that.
It's just like looking at this year's chart
Mm-hmm.
and then last year's chart.
Right.
I'm having a hard time coming to grips why I didn't make more money than last year.
Dude, that's what everybody, like, all right, I'm not even, that's what everybody says though. Like, I know people.
Hindsight is 2020, guys.
Well, like, I know people that missed out on.
2020.
I don't have 2020 vision yet, Bear. It just changed over. All right, like, come on. But no, like,
Glasses.
I remember people that missed out on 2017 because of weakening economic data, too high volatility, RSI was too high. And so, like, I know those people that missed out on that, and then they benefited off of 2019 like it was their greatest year to date, and then just got fucked over in 2019. So you can have a bad year and then followed by a great year and followed by whatever happens after that. So, you know, if you didn't do well this year, if this is your worst year yet, and all of a sudden the market, it went completely against you, it's like, don't be so discouraged, you know. If things correct out, things have a way of correcting to a mean average. So plan accordingly. If you're an options player, you should be dating out longer. If you're a futures player, make sure you have enough to handle any downturn. If you're a commons player, invest accordingly. Look at the longer term outlook things. But I think that's our 2019 in review. Do you guys have anything you guys had that was different compared to what we said so far?
No, I'm just sitting here all depressed now.
Right. I feel like that.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
I'm sorry. But
2019 was a solid year.
No, 2019 was great. Like the first half.
Somebody said 2019 was like the worst year ever, but it was a pretty solid year.
No,
There's some crap.
I had a fuck ton of fun the first half. Like the first half, I was living my life. It was great. And I tripped a few times, and
I remember the trips, my friend.
No, dude, those are hard. Those are hard. But
Tim was almost in prison.
Twice, but it's fine. Whatever. Who cares?
Twice is being
generous.
Tim more like 36 times.
They don't need to know that. That's fine. Whatever. Here we go. 2020, right? 2020 vision. Here we go. So 2020 is our outlook that we're going to take. We are going to examine just how we see it from a technical side of perspective, how we see it from what we know from a economical perspective, a geopolitical perspective, and we're going to put it into terms that don't try to showcase that we know a lot more than you by using a lot of big terms, or hey, guess what, we did 4 years of business school, we need to put this to test. We're going to put this in our own words that anybody can understand it and do that, and you can either trust us or you can't. I think I would trust us. I think I've seen Bear's perspective on things. I've seen Jay's perspective on things. I've seen my perspective on things play out on longer term frames, and you know what? I kind of would just trust it. So, or at least have it in your back pocket. How about that? So when we're looking at 2020, let's do just the basic tackle of things. Of what do we see? What would happen in 2020 for the market overall? Jay, why don't you hit us off if you want to? And you can just give reasoning to what you think and your overall perception of it.
I'm still super confused after last year. I want to see the deal get signed, and I want to see phase 2 talks actually kick off, and then maybe I'll have a better feel for long term what the market's going to do. But right now, I think we really need to embrace this pullback currently.
All right, so and there's going to be a lot of perma either side listening, and in terms of, I know a few people that listen that are perma bears, and I know a few people that listen that are perma bulls. What would make you feel comfortable? Like if you looked on a chart and you said, damn, that pullback looks ripe. Yeah, this is great, because if the trade talks advance, then this would be a prime pickup. So is there any specific point where you feel comfortable on a pickup for a long-term investment for a year? Like you would see last year, if we did this podcast around this time, I think everybody and their mother would be like, we're going under Trump's inauguration, and look what we just did, you know? So like, what's your ideal pickup right now for a longer term play for a year-long hold?
Like if we see ES pull back to like 30.25 to 30.30, I'm gonna be looking long term. I don't think we're gonna break that.
Okay, perfect.
Not without super bad news. I don't think Trump will let that happen. Won't let super bad news just kill the market.
Right. I think even if this Iran shit like hits hard and it just smacks and he's like, we're going to full out war, I think he's gonna just talk about the trade talk constantly. I think that's legitimately how people need to play it until November hits. Like, why not play the game that the administration is playing? And so, and you can talk about how, funds don't play that way, or they protect their money. Like, fuck that, you know, like they know that he's going to protect their money too, so why wouldn't they play that aggressive too? So are you looking for anything specific in trade talks that would, like, if you heard something be talked about, or if you heard a deal be signed off of that's what you would want to hear, and you'd be like, that's my cue, I'm going long. If you even had time to react to that.
Yeah, I'm so numb to all this garbage now. Like, I just want to hear talks are going very well and go long.
I mean, it seems fair enough as it is. I think trade talks are going well last December, so I mean, clearly they are. So,
but I really want to see progress actually be made on IP, on intellectual property. Like,
I think if that ever gets
gonna make me go
addressed,
real long.
I think so too. That is exactly what I'm waiting for too. If there's actual genuine talks on IP, like, that's my cue to just like load the boat. I'm good. Whatever, it doesn't even matter, because in 5 years I'm sure it'll be higher. Like, that's my cue at least too as well.
Speaking of being higher, 3222.75. Yep. Saw that little peak over there.
Ayo.
Anyhow.
No, Bear, what's your 2020 outlook? What are you looking at? What are you hoping to do? What's your long-term outlook and pickup hold?
Right now, currently, I'm out to March into June, July on a couple of different defense plays. But I would say, especially with the way things are going right now, for the foreseeable future, I'm long defense. Specifically, I go with big name ones for the most part, which are going to be your Raytheon, Lockheed, Northrop, United Technologies. The only one that I'm still holding off on, I've been scalping it quite a bit, but Boeing, with their whole issues with the 737 MAX, Boeing gets a huge portion, more of their money comes from the commercial side than the military side. So while this whole Trump pissing contest with Iran is going to boost the defense sector,
right,
it's still getting dragged down pretty heavily by the
but just the overall problems of everything. Yeah.
So for the foreseeable future, though, I'm pretty heavily long on defense, especially if Iran keeps kicking things up. I guess during the eulogy for the Soleimani that got killed, the guy giving the eulogy said that he hopes that everyone in Iran will donate $1. There's 80 million people in Iran. Donate $1 to the fund of assassinating Trump, which would make an $80 million bounty on his
I didn't know that was
Obviously,
it.
that is actually what it is. It is not official, but he did come back and say something. He said, we can attack the White House itself, and we can respond to them on American soil. So as long as we got stuff going on like this, I'm long defense.
I think that's
smart.
Big way.
No, I genuinely think that's a smart fucking tactic to use right now, because I feel like, based off that fucking old thing that he tweeted, like, started, I know it was conspiracy, but like the whole thing of like I'm going to start a war with Iran in order to get reelected, that he did with Obama. Like, I think that it'll hurt him short term in his chances of getting reelected, but then it'll play into his base. But it'll also be a short term boost, like a big boost for all defensive sectors because of that reason as well.
Yeah, it's going to be big. And then 2020, there are some absolutely massive defense contracts that are out there, and some that are being bid on now, and some that will be awarded mid to 3/4 of the way through the year. You can Google them, and they're pretty easy to find. I'm not giving people trading advice, but there are some massive contracts that could float companies for 10+ years just off that one contract.
Okay,
so
damn.
Look into
Okay,
those, and it might be smart to
I
maybe
feel
move
it.
a little
Yeah,
bit of money.
that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so my 2020 outlook that I'm going to be having this year is a little on the controversial side of things that it plays into a couple market factors. Basically, what I'm expecting is consumer staples to have a good Q1, decline Q2, Q3, and Q4, and basically just an overall negative year for consumer staples. So you can find consumer staples through XLP, a couple other names, and you can kind of reverse look up those names to see what names those play into. But I think it's basically my reasoning for shorting consumer staples after Q1 is that it's overdone. There's no haven for safety that is secure now after a everything rally, or everything is propped up. So typically when you get your declines that are happening in tech, that are happening in healthcare, all these other things, you have a flight to safe dividend stocks, so to secure that money to make sure it grows over time. But I think it's a bit extended, a little bit overpriced. There's going to be a few people that probably disagree with that statement, but that's my overall thing, and that it's January 5th currently where it's at. So if we end January 5th of 2021 at a higher price, yeah, I'm wrong on that, but I think that it's a bit overpriced for safety right now, based on consumer staples.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my give a quick explanation the best I can without being a financial advisor type thing.
Just real quick, if you guys would have been a financial advisor and listened to me on the futures market, boom, poppy boy.
Did you couple points off that right now as we're watching this?
I mean, I'm not trading it, but I would have got a couple points off of it.
Yeah, I got filled.
Nice. Oh shit, it did actually pop. All right, well that's good. All right.
Look, I'm telling you, the talent is there.
The talent is.
Put me in, coach.
Put me. All right, so then I have 4 things total. My next one is I'm actually going against my own opinion, which seems like the stupid thing to do.
That's pretty stupid, Tim.
Yep.
All right, so here's what I'm going to say. I do think Disney's going to make an all-time high again this year, as in 2020. I do believe that it finishes down simply because of the fact of they have no big Marvel movies to back them up. A lot of parks just opened up and it's wintertime, so I think they're going to see Q1 and Q2 should be declines, in my personal opinion, based off of just the fact that they don't have movies, they don't have park sales because it's winter.
Have you
And
been to Southern California or Florida in the winter? Lovely times of the
well, it's not the time for people to take vacations because it's.
lovely time of the year.
I hate you because it
I
actually
got
is
home from
lovely.
vacation yesterday, actually.
But you went north, so it's just like
Okay, but I am an outlier. Like,
True.
who goes to Ohio for fun? You know?
Well, I'm sorry. Hold on. I've been down to those areas. It still drops down to like 60, so you're still wearing like a
Well,
sweatshirt and
it's down to
hoodie.
43 tonight, but no one's at Disney during the nighttime other than the homeless guy that snuck in there to eat the leftover pretzel.
Fair enough. Well, fair enough. Well, you know what? He's not providing any ticket sales, so that should feed into that as
Yeah,
well.
that's the one guy.
So
I just find it hard to believe that you're kind of bearish on Disney with Disney
How about
Plus
this?
just being out.
well, how about this?
Yeah,
I'm
Tim,
not.
How long is Disney Plus on in your house every day? Like 3
It-
hours?
No, it's on
6 hours?
It's on a lot. It's on a lot. Ugh.
So
So how about this? I'll make this so fucking specific because that ASAP fucking like dude that looks like he's been aborted after like 12 years in his life, like keeps on coming after me on Twitter.
it's pretty rude.
No, like the dude's an asshole. Like he's like, oh yeah, but it wasn't the greatest short, even though it was down $100 from its top, even after like saying
And
exactly.
It didn't even look like that, and he took an arrow.
Exact shit. Fucking Aurelius or whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh, boy.
So I genuinely think that Disney's gonna have another pop in it. Like I think Disney makes a a Q1 all-time high, which Q1 I believe is 1st of March. I genuinely think it makes another all-time high, but I genuinely think it goes flat to down, which means selling credit spreads on all-time highs, I believe, is your kind of look at this. Either that, or you can do back ratios for a put-back ratio on these plays to kind of handle that. I do think it declined just because of that factor that Mandalorian ended. They bumped up. They personally bumped up WandaVision to make sure that 2020 wasn't bland for them, because they're just recycling content at that point, and there's really nothing monumental for Marvel or anything else. So even then, you're looking at a Q3 release of WandaVision to bump sales, to get everyone to subscribe back. There's no movies, there's Widow, and then there's a new series that pops out, so there's no major ticket sales, and they're hoping for a perfect... I'm also super long energy. I genuinely believe that energy is a play. I've been telling my parents to invest in energy and kind of long XLE, a few of these energy names that are out there. I don't want to get into specific things in case there's actual legalities I need to worry about when it comes to that. But I think this is going to be an up year. I think, and it just so happened that the Iranian situation happened, which would cause an increase in energy in itself. So that was not predicted. That had nothing to do with anything I had predicted. I just think that it's an uptick and it's going to go, and then that played into it, so it's great. But then that leads me into long emerging markets, and a lot of these things are what everyone's calling for, but I think everyone's calling them for a reason. The reason why I'm long emerging markets is if the trade deal goes through, emerging markets and everything is just going to get the biggest boost you can possibly fucking imagine. And I think that I will mark this and do like a little tweet reminder thing that EM will be the most talked about thing in 2020. It won't be Tesla, it won't be Facebook, it won't be FANG, it won't be nothing. It'll be all emerging markets. And I also think I'm heavy into the belief that India is the actual choice to pick for 2020 and moving forward, because if things fail with China, US will look to replace that production, and India will be the one to offer up their services and continue that production. And obviously them being the crazy growth that they've been having lately will continue forward, and it'll only continue forward with the US backing them and forward. So I am long emerging markets. I am long energy. I'm short Disney. I'm short consumer staples. I don't believe any of those contradict each other, so it should work out perfect. And I'll even set my own tweet reminder when I send out this episode to make sure that I can review this, and we'll see where it goes. But that is my 2020 outlook.
I agree with the emerging markets. I moved a decent amount of my 401k over to emerging markets because,
in case
they're emerging.
Don't say that. We're gonna lose so many people when they hear that. They're like, God damn it, this dude. What's your reasoning for going long emerging markets?
Just I think the way that the world is going right now, and the tension between China and the U.S. and now this whole crap with the Middle East and the U.S. and I think there's just a lot of potential for things to start swinging to other areas of the world, and like you said, one of the big ones is India. And there's little snippets of news you can find out there of things shifting towards India's favor, and so
I think there's a guy that we know that I've been talking with for the past, I don't even know when this was, but we've been really big on India for the past 6 months in 2019, and it's worked out really well for us both. I got my wife's 401k IRA and my parents that I'm kind of actively trying to help out and do that, and I got them into that, and it's been nothing but beneficial. And I really think that I think in 5 years nothing can go wrong with that, and I think they're that big of potential that they vault into top 3 instantly, and if not possibly in the next 10 years take over top 2. That's like my kind of hyper prediction that I think is out there.
Very well.
That's me. I mean, it's
I'm not
very
gonna
bold.
fight you on that.
It's a bold statement, but it's just like, ugh. I don't know. I think it's there. I think if everything plays, I mean, obviously no one would. 10 years ago, we still had Obama for everything, and who knows that we would have had Trump, and who knows we would have had things that we had today. So a lot of things can happen in 10 years. So, but if things went according right now and trade continues, I think India is a big factor that people need to realize and consider. That's me. But did you guys want to add anything that was out there?
Not really.
Long defense.
I don't really have
Yeah,
much.
I mean, it's the industry I'm in. There's just stupid money in defense, and if we're going back to war,
It's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better.
I mean, I'm not trying to. It's war sucks, but if you can make money off of it right now, then I'm not saying go be a politician and send people to war to make money, but play the markets, and if that's the way things are shifting, throw your money there.
Yeah. What about you, Jay? You got anything? Any final words for this? Yeah.
Not really. I've only got we got two things I'm looking at, and not really market wide, but I like VMware because government's kind of slow catching up with the commercial world.
Okay.
But
You got a play on
to
that?
get into VMware.
Do you have a direct play on that, or anything someone can look up specifically?
Yeah. Let me pull up the chart again real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, sorry, what was this?
VMware, VMW.
BMW, pulling it up.
So I think right now is a good opportunity.
Enhance.
We're pulled back pretty nice right now, and if I can get the opportunity to buy around 146, 147 ish, I'm probably gonna pull the trigger.
Okay.
Provided it holds that, but I think it's gonna pop back up to all again for sure.
Yeah. So that's the reason why I asked you guys this, is because there's a bunch of investing books that are out there. Peter Lynch is out there. There's a Random Walk Down Wall Street. And the main thing that they try to tackle is when you're looking at a yearly perspective, weekly perspective, monthly perspective, it's invest in what you know, what your thing's about. So my thing always was being a parent, father. I knew that Disney was going to be a hot thing for all parents to grab, and that's why I kind of put my neck out there and rode with it. Yeah, maybe a one-hit wonder when it comes to this is the only thing that worked for me. But my wife Becky, she's huge into sales, and she did wonderful with Crocs. She did wonderful with Lulu. She did wonderful with Kohl's. She did wonderful with all these other things. So it's always investing in what you know, and if you know when trends shift and you can dip out, who cares if you missed out on a few little highs, few little lows. So just always don't just follow oh, Roku's hot, Roku needs to recover. What's the long-term thing? Are people buying Roku and all these other things? And just make sure that's how you're playing when you're looking at grabbing leaps on things, when you're playing commons on things, is have a longer term perspective on everything, and make sure that's something that you would buy. And if it's not something you would buy, don't invest in it. Get out of that trade.
If you listen to anything, if anybody listening to this listens to anything I say right now, if you're playing options, aside from, even if you're playing earnings, but if you're playing options right now, you've got to give yourself extra time, because the way that the news is swaying things and stuff right now, it's just insane. Yeah. So give yourself some extra time. Weeklies are fun to play, but
yeah.
Oh man, you're either gonna end up like Basra, or you're gonna end up like what's that guy's name? Just got salami over in Iran.
Tim? What? No, no. Go ahead.
Oh, Tim. No.
Yeah, Tim. Well, I think that's important too. Don't ever play weekly options on the 2020 outlook. Don't ever play front month options on the 2020 outlook. You gotta be taking leaps. You gotta be looking at I would say end of 2020 to 2021 or mid 2021 if it's even playable out there. So don't ever, like, there's so many stupid people out there that like chill out. Like, know your time frame, know when to play it, and if something falls, it falls. Just play it accordingly. I think that's the thing. You have to throw disclaimers out there, I think, because I hear all these people having to throw disclaimers out because they listen to a podcast and all of a sudden they can sue them based off these financial recommendations that they're not qualified for. So I have to say that for a speed talk real thing, I don't know how to talk fast like those commercials, but yeah. So just don't do that and play leaps on whatever you want to play for a 2020 outlook, whatever it is. But I think that's it. To review everything, we have our 2019 review about how we each handled everything. I think we all...
Or didn't handle everything.
Some of us had a second half stumble. Some of us exceeded. Some of us did very well. Overall, I think we were all profitable, or we all at least made at least $1.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So, all right. We all at least made $1. So you know what?
At least paying taxes this year.
Hey, that's all that matters. So we all made money. Great job, everybody. It was every one of us at least made money, or at least made $1. Some of us are paying taxes on things, so that's good. Our 2020 outlook, we have Bear that is long defense, especially if the Iranian situation continues, and just especially if the budget continues to go towards that, I would assume. Jae is long VMware, I want to say, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and pick up a long-term position while also selling like weekly options or monthly options on top of that.
Yeah. So fair enough. So my 2020 outlook is a little bit more detailed in the sense, a little bit more risky. I am shorting consumer staples for a longer term outlook. I'm looking for a Q2 decline on that, mid Q2 decline on consumer staples. I am short Disney, especially after Q2. I am long energy throughout the entire year of 2020, and I am definitely long EM throughout the entire 2020. I think the longer term aspects of that, and if trade deals go through, foreign markets emerge, and if any sign of trade optimism continues, it'll just be a boost to overall global growth. So I think if you're not long EM, especially if trade talks are going well, it's kind of silly. So that is our entire show for this, and our 2020 outlook, 2019 review, our stock selections of everything. How do you feel? Do you guys have any disagreements about anything? Are we all good? We rolling through?
We're good. If you would have listened to me, not that I'm a financial advisor, you'd be up like, what, 10 ticks now? 11?
Oh, you're still harping about ES on this trade.
I mean, I'm just saying, go back, look at it.
Yeah. Just know
just say
that Poppy Bear has your back, baby. All right.
I'm no longer striking out in T-ball, boys.
This is the big leagues, baby.
I wouldn't go there. Maybe I'll be doing some big league chew.
Hey.
Tim, I want to disagree with you on Disney, but I'm probably not going to take a position anyway.
No. You have to tell me, because I can't just like hide your opinion after you say that. So go ahead.
Yeah, and it's just the whole thing with Disney Plus and how subscriber numbers. The institutional guys love to see subscriber numbers, and they'll just jack the price up. I feel like that's just going to be like most of the year for Disney. Even if they have kind of bad earnings, they're going to have like great subscriber numbers or something.
See, that's exactly what I'm thinking, and exactly why I'm saying a Q2 decline, because I think Q2 decline will show that there's no Mandalorian, there's no WandaVision, there's no Marvel success, and it's just unveiling a Disney Vault. And I think that people are going to unsubscribe once those shows are over, and then resubscribe once they're back on, because they do that week-to-week option thing, of release of Mandalorian and everything. So they kept everyone along for Mandalorian. They kept everyone along for all these releases. And I just don't think they have anything to fill out that first half of 2020. So I feel like it's going to be a slight dip. But once WandaVision releases and once all these other things come there, I think it's gonna perk back up again. And their park should perk back up. And I think ESPN should, with this bundle, I think more people are going to use it, so it won't be as much of a burden on them. I think Hulu will be their adult section of shows, and I think they'll transfer over, and you might hear some revitalization of Daredevil, Iron Fist, and all their other Marvel classics that will actually maybe boost it. So if they release that type of information, I'll be utterly fucked, because that'll hit them really good with these subscriber numbers. That I'm genuinely, the only thing I'm afraid of is subscriber numbers when it comes to Disney Plus. And I think you're absolutely 100% right that if they start releasing these things, then I definitely need to be worried about that call. But according to plan with right now, I think that's my outlook.
That's fair.
So I think you're right, but I only think you're right if they announce those shows and those things. But I feel like I could be right if they don't do that. So that feels like I'm backtracking. So I just need to stick to my thing. Short Disney after Q1 into Q2, especially first half of Q3, and then re-long that bitch. That's my call. So
I'm gonna take my kids to Disney.
I'll screw you.
And Q1.
Well, fuck you. All right. Well,
Just to screw.
I think I'm actually taking my kid to Disney.
They're only 2 and 1 years old. Why would I take them to Disney?
Well, I think you're actually coming with us, so screw you. We actually are going to Disney.
Well, maybe.
In Q2.
You know,
which...
My kids get just as excited going to a donut shop as they get to Disney.
Shit.
So I'd rather spend $3.
Fair enough. All right. So that's our show for this evening. We are here January 5th. Just remember, we do have a bunch of guests lined up that I'm super fucking excited about. I've been working my ass off this holiday season trying to secure a bunch of people. If they get locked up, it's going to be great, because I think everybody's going to fucking love their opinions. If they don't, I think I'm still going to get a few people that everybody's going to fucking love. And I think it's going to build off that. And most importantly, the main reason exactly why I made this fucking podcast is coming up. It's going to be ER season, and how to utilize options, and how to play them. And these guys and our guests that we're going to be having on are going to be having fun and coming up with plays for everything that week that we're coming up. And I think everything starts January 14th, so pretty soon. I'm really excited about it, because I think this will actually showcase our knowledge, and that we're not just a bunch of dudes just fucking sitting here talking about stuff. We actually know the ins and outs of these things, so tune in, and I think you'll like the guests that we have. I think you'll like the guests that we have. I think it's impossible not to. So tune in. We'll see what happens. All right, and we're out. Enjoy.